With the release of Apple Log last year in their iPhone 15 Pro models, it was very clear to me that this was going to become a really awesome camera, especially for vloggers. Well, another camera was released last year alongside of it, and that was made from DJI with their Osmo Pocket 3. It also has its own 10-bit log profile, but I wouldn't really call it a professional log profile. As you can see here on the waveform and in this example shot, it's not as flat as the Apple Log, meaning if you overexpose or underexpose, you're definitely not going to be able to pull it back to try to get your dynamic range back. And you could potentially run into some banding issues with color. However, I'm not trying to scare you away from using log. It's just the fact that as long as you expose correctly with the D Log, you will be able to get it to match more or less to other cameras, as you can see here with my True Life LUT on both of these cameras. Now, one of the major selling points of the Osmo Pocket 3 is the fact that you have a gimbal already built into it, giving you very smooth walking and talking shots like this. But that's not to say that the Apple iPhone's built-in stabilization doesn't do a good job. It does, as you can see here. However, the Osmo Pocket 3 does have one extra feature, which is tracking. And because I have it tracking my face, I can literally walk anywhere I want and still be within the shot. Whereas with the iPhone, well, you can't really do that. Now, the iPhone 16 Pro may not have a gimbal built into it, but what it does have is additional lenses that you can utilize. You have a wide-angle 13mm, you have a 24mm, which is what you're looking at right now, and that can also digitally punch into a 48mm, which is awesome. And then lastly, you also have a 120mm telephoto lens, allowing you to see things very far away. Whereas the Osmo Pocket 3, you're pretty much just stuck with a 20mm, and while you can use a wide-angle lens adapter to go wider up to approximately 15mm, it's going to have a nice curved edges around the side, whereas the iPhone, you're going to get a nice linear wide-angle 13mm. Another selling point for the iPhone 16 Pro is the fact that it is water resistant. It can handle splashes, some rain, even being submerged underwater up to 30 minutes depending on the depth. Whereas the Osmo Pocket 3, it doesn't have a water resistant rating. Now, I have taken it out and it has been rained on, but because of the gimbal's motor and it has to move as well as the flip screen, I'm not going to really trust the fact that moisture can't make its way through there. I doubt it is weather sealed. So when it comes to filming out in the elements, the iPhone 16 Pro is going to be the one to use. Due to the nature of the Osmo Pocket 3 being a gimbal, you are able to see yourself as you're filming. Whereas with the iPhone, if you want to be able to see yourself while you're vlogging, you're going to have to rely on the front-facing camera, which is what you're looking at right now. The front-facing camera is not as good as the main lens that's on the back, but for mission-critical stuff, this is the kind of results you can expect. No vlogging kit is complete without some sort of microphone, in which case I suggest using a wireless one as it allows you to capture your voice without being near the camera. For the Osmo Pocket 3, you can either get the Creator combo or buy this transmitter separately, which is the Mic 2 transmitter. And it's going to wirelessly connect to your Osmo Pocket 3 without the need of a bulky receiver attached to it. Not only that, you have the option of plugging in your own wired lavalier mic if you want to be a little bit more discreet and not have this transmitter kind of bouncing around on your shirt. And it also has internal 32-bit float recording, which means should you lose your audio signal, you at least still have a backup audio to work with and sync it up with your video later. In terms of the iPhone, you can purchase some Bluetooth microphones and connect it that way, but usually they don't sound all that great. So I still suggest you have some sort of receiver and transmitter combo, in which case I would highly recommend the Hollyland Lark M2. The microphone is extremely small, held together with magnets underneath my shirt, and because it's underneath my shirt and it's so light, it doesn't really bounce around all that much, and my shirt essentially acts as a wind muff. As all this wind coming from the lake, you're probably not hearing it. As for the receiver itself, it's pretty small and it doesn't jut out of the phone too much. And it doesn't use its own battery source as it's going to draw battery power from your iPhone. But not only that, the receiver does have a pass-through charging port, allowing you to charge your phone through the receiver, meaning you can at least keep your phone completely charged and you won't have to worry about it. When it comes to the low light performance of both of these cameras, they both do very, very well. The iPhone's main sensor is the best performing one. Its wide angle sensor is not bad, but it's not as good as the main 24mm sensor. But the telephoto lens, it does not do well at all in low light. It's extremely grainy. Now, the Osmo Pocket 3 technically can outperform in low light compared to the iPhone by going into its low light mode. The only thing is you can no longer shoot in D Log, you have to shoot in the normal color profile, and you have no access to noise reduction and sharpness settings. So at the end of the day, which one of these two cameras are you gonna bring with you on your vlogging adventures? Well, both of you can swing it, but let's just say you can only bring one. In which case I would say it depends on two things. Number one, accessories. Number two, how do you tell your stories? So when it comes to accessories, the iPhone, you can get a bunch of filters, but they're usually a little bit on the chunkier side, something like this, and having all that, it's gonna add up. If you also want some very smooth gimbal-like shots, well, you're gonna have to bring a gimbal with you and carry it around with you. And same thing with like a tripod, all that kind of stuff can add up. Whereas with the Osmo Pocket 3, you already have a gimbal on it, so you're gonna get some very smooth shots. And if you wanted to bring some filters, well, here are 2 packs from Freewell, and there's approximately like 5 different effect filters, a bunch of ND filters, and it literally just fits into this tiny little case. Yes, you can get a tripod if you want to for the Osmo Pocket 3, but because it's so small, having just like a little handheld small tripod and you just place it on something high, that's gonna do just fine. And the facial tracking feature will also make sure that you're always in frame. The second thing is, how do you tell your stories? So in my opinion, the Osmo Pocket 3 is really good at telling stories of what's going on with you and also what's going on around you within arm's reach. And if you do want to show something like a really awesome cityscape that you're standing on a balcony, you can essentially show them a point of view shot with an Osmo Pocket 3. Whereas with the iPhone, not only are you able to show people what's happening to you, what's going on around you within arm's reach, but if you want to show off that one thing in the city skyline, you can use a telephoto lens and just punch in there and show people in more detail of what you can see versus just using a wide angle lens. So those are the kind of things that I would say you have to take into consideration of which of these cameras is going to be best for you. If you're going to ask me which one do I want to bring for my vlogging adventures, I'm the kind of storyteller that's going to not only want to show what's going on with me, what's going on around within arm's reach, but definitely what I see from far away and I can't actually get there. So without any surprise, the iPhone 16 Pro is the one that I would use for my vlogging adventures. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you do decide to get the camera and you want to utilize the log profiles, I will have my True Life LUT linked down below for either of these cameras. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next one.